Camera rolling. Three, two, and action.
Delano,
Yes.
what's your passion every morning when you wake up?
My passion, that is a very good question. I would say that my passion is the desire to be the best father and leave a legacy for my kids. Every morning I get up, it's about what am I doing for them? How am I making their lives easier? How proud will they be of their father? I think that's probably the most focused direction that I'm headed in every morning. When my feet hit the ground, I'm thinking about the things I need to do to make them, one, proud of me, and two, leave them a legacy.
Was there a time that you were not very proud of yourself?
Oh yeah, I mean, there are many times including when I went through a divorce. I didn't like, or I was extremely hurt by how hurt my kids were of this, and that really hit me hard. I was sleeping in my car, and my kids had to say goodbye to me because I'd lost everything, and to see the look on their faces, okay, so we're going through something, but what are you doing, Dad? Why aren't you coming with us? I think, to me, the look, and particularly my daughter, my youngest, my heartstring, I think the look on her face was just inescapable. That just tied itself to my failure to sustain that environment that they called home and where they felt safe. So that was probably the deepest sense of disappointment for me.
But there was a time that you were really flying high. Talk about your climb to flying high.
Oh, my second son would call it the beach house days. We, moving from the Bahamas, just like every other kid, you dream of accomplishing things that you saw on television. You dreamed of doing something significant for your mom. You dreamt, for me, it was having a house, a two-car garage, white picket fence, a dog named Spot, and kids, right? That was the thing I wanted to accomplish. There was always a sense of family because we didn't have that. And so when I left home, came here, I was always said that, you're the most creative person I know, and that always kind of rung with me. So I figured, let me do something with that. So I was in the music industry for a while, achieved Grammy nomination, Dove nomination as a singer-songwriter, and did fairly well, sold about 100,000 copies of my album at that time. Out the back of my trunk, which is, the rites of passage for every musician. And from there, I bought a house and started to live the dream. I ventured off into other things and experienced a great amount of success in music and art.
What was that like? You felt like you were on top of the world. What was that like? Money-wise,
Yeah.
success-wise?
I remember the first day that I realized that I can walk into any car store and buy a car, like whatever it is I wanted. And it really, it changed. There was just this big mega shift in my head, in my mind, that I had achieved. Because sometimes you work so hard and you don't have an opportunity to stop to really smell the roses, really stop to look back and see how far you've come. And I realized that I'd achieved my kids being proud of me. And they would, come home, and I would come home and it would be, Dad's home. So I'd achieved all these things, and I had that. I'd achieved greater than what my dream, the picture of my dream was, which was, you know, a house with a 2-car garage. Well, I had a 3-car garage. I had a business in New York that was doing extremely well. I had corporate America, Fortune 500 company clients, and doing well in the music industry. And it felt right. It felt deserved. There were some moments of, you know, a pat on the back, and you know, you splurge a little bit, you know, you buy a house here, buy a house there. And so it was, I felt like, you know, something else happened too, and that was, I felt like I was doing what my father didn't accomplish in terms of managing his success all the way through. So I thought I was at that place where I'd reached that pinnacle, and I was undoing my father's wrong or his mistakes. So that for me was the apex of my achievement, being able to go on a vacation, take my kids on a vacation, my ex-wife on a vacation, to have an option. And you know, my kids, my middle son, because he was born when everything was really, you know, we had a lot of money, and so there was limos and private jets, and he remembers all of these things. And for him, you know, those were the glory days, even though he was only about 5 years old. So I think for me that was kind of like the apex of achievement.
But what happened? You're on top of the world, limos, private jets. What happened?
Well, the rites of passage for anybody who wants to be successful in life. You know, I read a book, The Millionaire Next Door, that said or echoed this thought that I heard before many years ago, and that a millionaire is broke at least 3 times in their life. And it's only when you have been able to conquer the comeback will you actually ever stay a millionaire. And so now I read that book after falling. Had I read it after the demise, then I probably would have prepared for it a little bit more. But
How did you fall? What happened?
so you know, it's always a lot of things that contribute to the demise of fall of any kingdom, any success. And I think for me, it was a combination of bad decisions. It was a combination of lack of a strong network of like-minded individuals. You know, as a musician, you kind of have this thing of, you know, everybody's coming at you, so it's all about you, and you don't really see the need to build a strong network. That's something that I learned later on in life, and I strive to do that now, and have a very healthy network of people around me of like minds. And I didn't have that, you know. It was I was a solopreneur in a lot of cases, which is a good recipe for failure. So I didn't learn from my failures the way that I needed to, which is sitting down and extracting, you know, probably a 3-point course of action to prevent this particular thing from happening again. And then also, I think there's a bit of, you know, cockiness when you achieve a certain level of success. I remember also when I talked about being able to walk into the car dealership and knowing that I could get any one of these cars, there was this sense of pride, you know, almost this manufactured aristocratic kind of, you know, nose up in the air type of thing. And I felt it was deserved. But I think with that type of thinking and not having people around you who can always keep you grounded is a recipe for disaster.
So you got cocky and spent too much money, or you,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. So yeah, so it's you know, there's a difference between recklessness and risk. And I think I took too many reckless, or made too many reckless decisions concerning money. And not understanding the power of leveraging debt I wanted to do everything cash, right? Which for any healthy business, you don't want to dry your well. You know, you want to be able to make good financial decisions and have good financial input.
Hitting rock bottom, you realized you had no money. How was that an impetus for your comeback? What did you decide? What was the turning point? How did you know that you were going to come back? What was your comeback about?
Yeah. I don't think you know that you're going to come back when you fall at that moment. I think you're inundated with the reality that you're not there anymore, number one. And number two, how did I get here? What are the things that led me to come here? And even though I talked about, you know, making wrong financial decisions, I just felt like that wasn't all, you know, that wasn't all that contributed to where I was. So I'm sleeping in my car, lost the houses, 3 houses, and I was depressed, suicidal. I felt like I failed my kids, felt like I failed my family, felt my mentors. And so I did what any black man would do. I read a bunch of books, right? And I found out I actually read over 300 books, starting ironically with a book called The Art of the Comeback, which is by 45, President Donald Trump. And it really started me on this trajectory that there was information that I was missing. It was just not about my hustle. It was just not about how good I was.